Like, they had to send Brandon out to Party City to go buy all those tiki torches. They had to go to, like, a Michael's and pick up art supplies and go to somebody's house like they were doing a DIY baby shower. And, like, you know this argument happened. Trevor, you were supposed to bring refills for the hot glue gun. Like, these are not people that you have to be scared of at all. They thought they could scare us coming in, kicking the door down. The Third Reich's back and it's whiter than ever. In D.C. this year, the Third Reich's here. They thought they could scare us, and it's time for them, for us to show them that we are not fucking scared of them at all. Because like I said, all the Holocaust museums, I've been to every single one. I've seen every single shoe there is to see. I've seen all of them, all 12 million shoes. You know, roughly, 6 million Jews, 12 million shoes. That's the unfinished Dr. Seuss book. Anyway, let's switch gears to something a little bit less dark. My grandmother died a couple of months ago. And you know what, I'm saying it's not as dark because she was 93 when she passed away. So she lived a long and full life, and she died in her bed, in her sleep. You spoiled bitch. She got everything she ever wanted in life and death. She had 3 wishes upon her death. Number 1 was she wanted to die in her bed, in her sleep. She got that right off the bat. Doing good so far. Number 2, she wanted to have 2 days worth of funeral services because not everyone's going to be able to make it to one. She's a very popular lady. And number 3, and this was the most important one, she would not be buried in any old lady dresses. The number one demand, she got it, she got it over here. You want to look good when you're going to meet your maker. She would not be buried in any old lady dresses, and what that resulted in was my mother and my Aunt Teresa dressing her in a blue sequin top and black palazzo pants, like she's going to casino night on a cruise ship. We also, we gave the funeral home all of my grandmother's own makeup because, in the words of my mother, I'm going to quote Camille right now, you're not going to use any of that clown shit you use on the other bodies. My mother was special and she paid good money for her Anastasia Beverly Hills, and we're going to get some goddamn use out of it. Yes! I never did realize that a funeral for an elderly relative is that place where all of your cousins will just come out of the woodwork to tell you how handsome you got. And it's like, oh my God, thank you so much. I do look my best when standing next to a corpse. Thank you. There is something about not eating and crying for 3 days that just works with me. Thank you so much, Carmela. When can we talk about coming to the family's island off the coast of Italy? We have to think about spending the inheritance wisely, don't you think? I'm a bad person for going there with that. I always know it, and I always keep going, and I never back out of it, even though it's just a surefire, just set myself on fire every time I want to do it. I'm fine. Like, listen, if I'm talking about, like, dead relatives up here, like, that means I'm fine with it. Like, I'm not lying down and crying on the stage. A couple of weeks ago, I did drop my phone in the tub while looking at pictures of corgis on Instagram. But, like, that's just because their bodies are so stupid, and they don't make sense. They just make me cry. Like, they film me with such, like, I've been really going through it because my favorite corgi on Instagram recently started dialysis, and I just don't know if he's gonna make it. So, like, it's been a real rough road for me recently. I had to go home for the funeral, and home for me is Staten Island, New York, which is an awful place to be from. It is the Mississippi of New York City. Truly, it is a borough of New York, but it's all of the racism of Biloxi, Mississippi, with just like a little bit of a different accent. Like, it is a place where the phrase "Hey, my sister Gina's dating a black guy" is still hard-hitting news in social circles. A few months ago, when I was visiting my parents, and I went to the Trader Joe's that was by their house. They finally got enough college kids on Staten Island who weren't getting a fucking Trader Joe's anyway. So I was there, and I overheard I can only describe as a sentient garlic knot with mush mouth. Just said, naan? Nah, I don't want none of that fucking ooga booga bread. What? You don't deserve the wide selection of salads that Trader Joe's has to offer. Like, not at all. This is where I come from. Like, people want to say, oh, you're from New York, you must have had a super liberal upbringing. No, I got the shit kicked out of me until I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. That is my truth. Still dark. It's still so fucking dark. But anyway, let's see. I lost myself for a second. But living in a conservative place clearly wasn't great for me. I did go to a private school for 10 years, which essentially was just a training program for young Republicans. Like, that's all that, and like, just take one look at me. Like, it took 15 years of constant pot smoking to chill me out to this level. Like, the two things that could have described me best at like 13 years old was precocious and too much. Like, that is who I was. Like, I was the kid that got mad at everybody for not attending my lunchtime improv class. Like, that is the kind of person that and then they called a morning meeting about it. And I've always just stuck to my brand my whole life, which is insufferable. Like, that is who I am. My two best friends in 8th grade were my English teacher and the school secretary. Miss Crowfoot and Miss Rizzo, respectively. Miss Crowfoot showed me West Side Story the first time, and I got mad at everybody because they called it a fag movie. Like, this is where I grew up. Anyway, I have really progressive parents, though, which was really nice. It's really nice. Though my dad has not always been the easiest guy to grow up with. You know, he's very Jewish and very opinionated. Like, when I was the first musical I was in 7th grade, I was the Herald in Cinderella, and I did a great job, and I was so proud of myself. And then afterwards, my dad told me my performance was just okay. And I cried for a week and didn't speak to him. So dramatic. But it's okay. You know, he had a stroke a couple of years ago, so that really chilled him out. You know. Like, honestly, our relationship is better than it ever was. It's amazing that the best thing for us is his inability to grip a fork with his left hand completely. I'll end with this. Quick story about him. When I was home the last time before the funeral, I noticed he bought 11 I Stand With Standing Rock hats. 11. That is far too many fitted caps for a 65-year-old man to own. Like, absolutely. When I asked him, hey Lenny, what's up with all the sweet lids? He told me that every time he's been hearing something racist or sexist or homophobic or bigoted out on Staten Island, he's been donating money to another cause, and the one that he's been donating a lot to right now is the No DAPL. And that's cool of him. You know, he's really trying to balance out the bad with the good. But I had to explain to him, like, Dad, you are from Staten Island. If you're going to donate money every time you hear some racist bullshit, I'm not going to get an inheritance from you. And I would like to be a mobile homeowner before I'm 40. Thank you so much. So why don't you cut it back on the progressive bullshit? Thank you so much, guys. You've been wonderful. Have a great night and keep it going for your fabulous hosts.